California Lake's unusual spillway expected to kick into action for the first time since 2006. The Lake Berryessa reservoir in Northern California is set to reach full capacity for the first time in 11 years. If that happens, water will begin flowing into the lake's glory hole spillway, like a giant bathtub drain. Crowds of tourists are expected to flock to the area to see the unusual sight. The glory hole spillway is located about 200 feet from the Monticello Dam. The distance from the glory hole to its exit point located in the Putah Creek is about 700 feet. The glory hole is a morning glory type spillway. Shaped like a funnel, it is 72 feet in diameter at its lip and narrows to about 28 feet at its exit. Water starts spilling into the glory hole when the lake fills up to a level of 1,602,000 acre-feet. The glory hole can release a maximum of 362,000 gallons of water per second. Water is expected to begin pouring into the glory hole this Saturday, as heavy rain is predicted in the coming days. The last time this happened was in 2006.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Here are more stories about the recent floods in California.
Oroville Dam spillway damage causes massive evacuation. More than 180,000 residents of Oroville, California, were ordered to evacuate on Sunday after a hole in the auxiliary spillway of a nearby dam threatened to flood the surrounding area. The Oroville Dam is the tallest dam in the U.S. at a height of 770 feet and can hold 3.5 million acre-feet of water. Officials began releasing water down the dam's main concrete spillway, a 3,000-foot chute that channels flows into the Feather River. A huge gash was discovered on the bottom half of the chute on February 7th, so officials dialed back the outflows down the main spillway. Stormwater and runoff from the Sierra Mountains caused Lake Oroville to rise to a point where water began flowing over an auxiliary spillway next to the damaged main concrete spillway. On February 12th, officials noticed a deep gash forming in the hillside below the auxiliary spillway and feared that it could collapse and flood nearby communities. On Sunday night, officials increased the outflows down the main concrete spillway to 100,000 cubic feet per second. Water is no longer pouring over the auxiliary spillway. Officials are now rushing to repair the damaged auxiliary spillway by dropping rocks into the hole created by the erosion. Weather forecasters predict storms will hit the area on Wednesday and possibly into Thursday. Officials will continue to discharge as much water as possible ahead of the storms without adding too much pressure to the damaged infrastructure.
Terrifying El Niño storms caused flooding chaos in Southern California. 3 El Niño-fueled storms have slammed into Southern California this week, drowning the arid state in floodwater and mud. And to make matters worse, one San Diego resident's beloved dog is the storm's first victim. The excess downpour has caused chaos on the roads, making them increasingly difficult to navigate, leaving some residents perhaps reconsidering their choice of vehicle. This dire scene in Ventura County has become all too familiar for many Southern California residents this past week, where flash flood warnings remain in effect. And if they leave their homes, it's scenes such as this that await them. The flooding is so bad in some parts that lifeguards were called in to rescue people from cars trapped in the mud and water. California is experiencing something this week that it hasn't experienced in a very, very long time: rivers and drains overflowing with water. Scenes such as this may become commonplace with more downpours expected over the weekend and on Monday. And worse yet, between 2 and 3.5 inches of rain are expected to fall over the next 16 days. Do you live in Southern Cali? How's the downpour affecting you? Tell us your El Niño story below.
Mudslide in California highway engulfs vehicles in several feet of mud. Hundreds of motorists were stranded on Thursday as Southern California was battered by a severe thunderstorm. Around 5 p.m. on Thursday, State Route 58 along California's Tehachapi Pass was hit with several inches of rain and hail the size of golf balls. Waters quickly rose within about 20 minutes of intense showers. As the road began to flood, drivers described seeing vehicles floating in the water and being pushed into each other, before a river of mud, rocks, and debris came flowing down. The resulting chaos forced some to abandon their cars, though others stayed with their vehicles until rescuers came. The mud flow was likely caused by a lack of vegetation holding down soil, leading to rocks and sediments falling into water channels and being swept down the mountainside by torrential rains. A total of 192 vehicles were stuck on the highway, including 115 passenger cars, 75 semis, and 2 tour buses. Highway 58 is still closed as rescuers continue to excavate the mud. A flash flood warning remains in effect in several areas of Los Angeles County, as the National Weather Service says that rain could continue to fall until Saturday.